I am a proud graduate of Miami Carroll City Senior High. My name is Claudienne Hibbert-Smith. I'm also a proud graduate of the University of Florida. And I'll tell you, I am not supposed to be here. I am not supposed to be here because at the tender age of 14, I gave birth to my son, Amari Bryant, who's now 30, by the way, doing very well. I was written off, maybe like most of you. And I remember coming out of the University of Florida, and I remember, and I'll be honest with y'all. If I could be candid, I will be honest with y'all. I don't think I had to do much to get a job. Once they heard that I was a graduate from the University of Florida, they were like hired. But here was the great thing about it. And I don't even know if this was so great. Okay. I don't know if this was so great, but I got a job. Job. How many people know what job means in my world? How many people know what job means in my world? How many people know what job means in my world? Just type it in the chat box if you know what job in my world means. Yep, just over broke. You got it. Whoever that was, it was Kiana, exactly. Just over broke. And I'll share with you this. Join here. I'm gonna do this really quickly. I love when I'm monitoring my stuff. I came on here today. I'm actually gonna make Natasha here a co-host and Kim, but I do want people to get the information on this end. So I'm gonna go ahead and expand it a little bit. If you guys don't mind, just give me a minute. There you go. All right, good. So here's the thing, guys. Okay, if you could help me let the people in, Natasha, that would be great in the waiting room. Here is the thing. I remember getting a job just over broke. And I also remember my 7th grade teacher, okay? She was not my myself, obviously, back in the day. Her and I became very good friends. In fact, she brought the first Wingstop concept to Miami-Dade, Florida. Now she's gone over to do 20 plus Wingstops, and she's just doing a fabulous job. And she's a great business person. I like to say, rich dad, poor dad, that was my rich mom. And I remember her buying a house, but what was most attractive to me, and can I keep it 100 with y'all? The realtor made a $40,000 commission in 2 months, 60 days. It took her 60 days to close on that house. One, because it was already being built, so it was at the end of the construction. She came in and bought it from somebody else that no longer could afford to buy the house. And I said, wait a minute now. I know how to add and subtract, and some ain't adding up. Because it takes me a whole year, 365 days to do just that. And I said 2 days later, y'all write 2 days later. And I'm not telling you to do this, but for me, 2 days later was the change of the narrative of my life. Okay. It was a change in the narrative of my life, and I cannot make it up. I quit my job 2 days later and I became a real estate agent. I want you guys to get a pen and a piece of paper with you right now, because what we're about to go over with you is going to make a change and a difference in your life. And I'm going to go over that with you. Now, I was going over, good old Claudienne likes to go over her spreadsheets and her presentations at the last minute. And yesterday, I realized I had a credit portion in there. Yes, I can go over credit, but I'll share with you this. It's always good to be able to have the credit specialist that does nothing but credit all day. And so I want to bring up, in fact, if I could just do this for a quick second, I want to bring up my good friend, Shawnee Curry, and I'll tell you this before she jumps on the line. Okay, I'll share this with you. Shawnee, did you want me to pull up my spreadsheet, or my presentation, or did you want to pull up your own and just talk?
How much time do I have?
20 minutes.
20 minutes. I'll share my screen if you give me the capacity to. I'll share my screen.
right, excellent. Let me just share with you who this individual is. And don't take her lightly. She's been on CBS News, NBS News, NBC News, CNN News. She has done the column consistently for years for the financial guru side of not just real estate, but in general, so that you can prepare yourself for financial greatness. I like to call her, well, maybe I shouldn't. I should call her Shawnee Curry. That's her name. But listen, she is taking over the market space, and I could not even believe she was available. I called her at the last minute yesterday, and I said, I was going over my presentation, and I realized I have a whole credit portion in there. And while I could very well do it myself, I always like to have these specialists in the room. So y'all get some pen and paper. When I came out of college, my scores were in the 500. And if it was anything like me, okay, if you were anything like me, you were broke in college, you have Roman noodles. Who am I talking to right now? I can't be the only one. I have food stamps, baby. I had it all. But one thing for sure, we on the University of Florida had something called the set. We had something called the set. And on the set would be the tables with credit card companies and banks giving students credit cards. And they would say, if you fill out the credit card, whether you approved or not, we'll give you the free t-shirt and the free cup. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You weren't really even concerned about the credit card. You just wanted the free shirt and the free cup. How many people I'm talking about right now? Because that was me. That was me. But what I didn't realize when I went down Newberry and I went to the mall, the one mall in the one little town, to go to Macy's, Bird Eyes at the time. It wasn't even Macy's. It was Bird Eyes, J.C. Penney's, and Sears. Those were the three stores that were like the anchors of the mall. Nobody really told me, Claudienne, you're going to have to pay these people back every month. So I spent up all the people money, and I accrued a lot of debt. And when I came out of college and I came into the workspace, I realized very quickly that I was going to have to do something with my credit. And so I didn't know people like a Shawnee Curry. I didn't know that there was this thing that you could go and fix credit. I just didn't know. And so I started calling the creditors. Hey, I have a job, but I got a problem. I can't pay you back the 5,000 you gave me, but I got 800 right now that I could take and settle this account. All you have to do is send me a letter saying that you accepted this so that I could report it to the credit bureau. Even if they did not, I had something in writing that said that they were willing to take a settlement. And I'm going to tell you something, over a course of 6 months, my scores went to a 500 to a 750 consistently. So without further ado, there are new and improved ways, guys, to do this. And I'll share this with you. I want to bring up my friend Shawnee Curry, who's right here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Take it away.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Claudia, the only thing I don't know is, okay, so there's someone there to let others in, right? So I won't have to navigate that. Okay. All righty. So good morning, from Miami, Florida. Someone's waiting to come in. Okay. Good morning from Miami, Florida. Just inside of the chat, I'm just going to ask you to share where you are from. Share where you are from, whatever city or state that you in, because there's always statute of limitations when it comes to debt in your specific city or state. So if you could share, that also gives me some capacity to who I'm sharing with, because I know Claudienne has a national platform. I am largely finding that the conversation, about money and just credit is very, very important. It has always been very, very important, but it's even more important as we are in the space of where the economy is, when we're looking at things like tariffs, where we're looking at the CPI, which is the cost of living in comparisons to how much money that we earn. And in you guys, in your space, not only are you realtors, so a large part of how much money people have access to is going to play a role in, how much property they can buy. And then in turn, that plays a role in your commission, and it also plays a role in you being not only just someone who sells real estate, but also someone who's being able to profit and purchase real estate. So at this particular time, I'm hoping, because of where we are standing in the economy, where you are standing within your careers, that I'm able to share some things with you that will help you to maintain your credit profile. Historically, in recessions, it is where those that are paying attention have the capacity to really jump income levels. In the last, I'm a banker. I come from the space of banking. And during the last pandemic, I mean, not the last pandemic, that was a time too, that was an economic time change too. But during the last recession, one of the largest recessions, is where I lost my job as a banker because Wachovia then became Wells Fargo, what we see today. So not only did I experience job loss in that time, but it also gave me the opportunity to jump income levels, because if you weren't in the space of real estate at that particular time, it was just like every day it was on sale. So if you had credit and you had money and you had relationships, you were able to stabilize yourself. And largely that is the stability that I'm still living on at this particular time. The things that I did during the recession of 2008 is why I have financial stability to this day. The type of property that I was able to purchase, the home that I live in now, the value of that property now is what sustains me. So if you are credit ready and you're financially ready during these economic times, is where you can really grow. You just have to make sure that you have the right relationships. Claudienne is someone that her and I have had a relationship for the last 8 years. She is someone who is going to inspire you, not just through her processes. In the time that I've known Claudienne, she's just someone that I admire, because there's a lot of people, especially now where we live in this social space, there's just so many people largely just coming at you with a lot of information. But Claudienne is a very qualified teacher. She's qualified because she has done the work, and she also knows how to articulate framework to someone who wants to learn and wants to build a high level of skill set. So of course, if she's asked me to be here this morning, whatever it is that I needed to ship around so that I can spend time with you in investing in you as she is also doing so, I wanted to do that. So thank you for your time. Many of you shared with me where you're from. I shared early on that I am from Miami. I'm a unicorn in some kind of ways because we have so many people from other places living here, but I'm very thankful that I've never actually lived anywhere else. So this is home. I appreciate how much the property value appreciates, and that's why I'm going to stay. So the other part of the conversation, now that I know that where you're from, in terms of location, can you, that way I know where to drive the credit conversation. So if you have really good credit, and I consider a good credit as a 750, if you already have a 750, drop a dollar sign inside of the chat. Drop a dollar sign, because then I know. Then I know where to target the conversation. I won't waste a whole bunch of your time giving you a whole bunch of practicality that you already know. But the goal would be, if you're not in the 750 club, for me to drive you to the 750 club, so that you're not having to be irritated about interest rates. You're not having to be irritated about being declined. If you currently don't have access to a credit card with a minimum of $5,000 available to you, that is also a sign that you're not using your credit well, because in these economic times, if you do find that you are financially challenged, it'd be really good if you had a minimum of a $5,000 credit card. For many of my clients, I've been doing this work for 15 years. They come to me, they do not have an emergency fund, but credit can serve as an emergency fund for you depending on how you use it. Okay, so I'm going to check the chat real quick, and that way I'll know where to drive the conversation in terms of who's in the 750 club and who's on their way to the 750 club. Okay, so we've already set a goal here from those who shared and those decided that they didn't want to share. the 750 is the goal. That's where it is that you want to go. So just so that we can take a little bit of stress off of some people, many times an individual will not even enter the 750 club until they become a homeowner. Okay, so if you don't own a home, it doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have good credit. It just means that because you don't own a home, largely your credit score is going to reflect that of someone who does not own a home. So you'll see that where you are right now, let's say the way that you're currently managing your finances, the way you're managing your debt, the way you're managing your credit cards, you can manage it that way. And then in maybe about 3 to 4 months, get a house, do the same things that you're doing right now, and your credit score is going to be much higher. Those that own homes are just looked at as a less riskier consumer. A less riskier consumer. They consider that because you are a homeowner, that you are not going to be gambling your home ownership. Okay, so for many of you who are not in the 750 club, if you're not a homeowner, that might be the first thing for you to do. Move from not being a homeowner to becoming a homeowner. It's really a calculated space, whereas in it's like, I want a job, but they're telling me that I can't get a job because I'm inexperienced. So that's the way that the credit bureaus treat you until you actually own a home. It's just the way that it is. It's all about risk. Okay. The other thing, as relates to if you do not, and that's mile markers for you. So maybe you'll say this is a 3-month goal. So your 3-month goal is going to be to get a 750 credit score and to at least have a minimum of $5,000 credit card. Those are going to be 2 of your goals if those are things you don't have. All right, so now that we've kind of qualified that, I'm going to move over to my actual presentation because the whole goal is to drive you to that 750 credit score. And if you do not at least have a minimum of $5,000 available to you on a credit card, I want to share some things with you that that you currently are not implementing so that you can get there. Okay, I'm going to share my screen here. Let's make sure I can do that. All righty, cool. All right, cool. So while I'm doing that part of my presentation, I want you to think about who is the wealthiest person that you know. Who's the wealthiest person that you know? And believe it or not, whoever the person is that just popped in your mind, that is one of your greatest financial teachers. That's one of your greatest financial teachers. So I put this question here for actually 2 people that serves as teachers to me. Claudienne is one of the wealthiest people that I know. And then she also spoke of who she identifies as her rich mom, which is Tina Howell. She would also fall in the space of one of the wealthiest people that I know. So it's really important for whoever the person is. They may not be as wealthy as Claudienne. They may not be as wealthy as Tina, but it's really important for you to identify the people that's already in your current space in terms of how wealthy they are. And for you to acknowledge that in your mind, because they represent not only money for you, but they represent a level of skill sets. They represent skill sets that either you need to cultivate or that you admire. So looking at those people, it's not just wealth, it's what are the behaviors that they have? What are their skill sets? One of Claudienne's powerful skill sets is her resilience. She's a very resilient person. She's also a person that builds strong relationships. She's also the kind of person that when you're talking to her, you may not think that she's listening because she's listening to you in maybe 5 different ways. It's one of the things that I admire about her. So it plays a role in how much wealth she actually generates. So whoever the person is for you, I would invite you to have a conversation with them so that they can. And one thing about me and Claudienne's friendship is that it's not someone that I know at a distance. So I know that some parts of her wealth was generated very easily. And then I also know some parts of her wealth story that got very complicated. So when you have the opportunity to have access, that can help you build your wealth story because you're not going to be delusional about it. right? So you get some of the good, you get some of the bad, and then you continue to craft out your own story. All right. So that would be the third thing that you've already learned from me. Number one, if you don't have a 750 credit score, you should get one. If you don't at least have a $5,000 credit card, those should be your 3 goals. If you haven't talked to the wealthiest person that you know in a way that you can borrow from their skill sets, if you do that today, you're going to be richer in 30 days. All right, so please make sure this would be for another presentation, so we're going to skip over that, but I may end up having to drop that in the chat for you at a later date. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to check your credit pulse. You can share this inside of the chat. And this will also be another measurement marker. I like to ask this question simply because this is for getting on the scale for people. This is getting on the scale. It's like, do you have a 750 credit score? No, I don't. All right, so here's a time for you to get on the scale, right? It's like, how much do you weigh? Oh, Lord, I can't, I'm overweight. Oh, Lord. So now you got to do something about it. You can answer this question in the chat or you can answer it rhetorically. It's totally up to you. If you wanted to buy a house in 30 days, could you do it? Could you do it? You can put yes in the chat or you can keep it to yourself. You can write it on a sheet of paper, keep it in your notes. All right. If you wanted to buy a house in 30 days, do you have the credit? Do you have the down payment? If you don't, then we're going to get some skill sets so that you can. If you wanted to buy a car in 30 days, do you have the credit? Do you have the down payment? If you don't worry about it. We're going to get the skill set so that you can. What if you want to go to the spa? I know it's a mixed gender group in here, but let's say you want to go get your hair cut. Is that easy for you? If you want to go spend a day at the spa for me is $200. Could you do that very easily? All right, so we will make sure just those basic things in terms of, can I get shelter that I want, that I'm proud of, that I like? Yes. Can I get transportation that I want, that I'm proud of, that I like? Can I get self-care that I want, that I'm proud of, that I like? And if the answer is no, then what skill sets do you need to put in place so that that can become a yes? All right. This is going to be a participation. I like the money sign because when I see money, it motivates me. So you're going to hear me consistently offering over to you to drop some dollar signs inside of the chat, because when I see the dollar sign, it motivates me and I hope that it becomes a motivator for you. So you'll constantly hear me saying, place a dollar sign in the chat so that your mind can see money, so that it recognizes money and it moves towards money. All right, so place in the chat if you always pay on time. Every single month you pay on time. I want you to drop some dollar signs in the chat, okay? The thing about not paying on time is you can risk the negative effect on your scores being dropped by 25 to 50 points. 25 to 50 points. So if you look at your credit report and you were late in January, late in March, late in April, you can just say, that's why I'm missing 75 points right there. I've been late 3 times and each of those is minimally worth 25. When you're looking at your credit report and you're trying to decide, why did my scores drop 25 points versus 50 points? Why did it drop 50 points versus 25 points? Largely, it would be the type of debt that it is. So 25 points you might lose on a credit card, 50 points you would lose on a car. So depending on the type of debt is going to dictate what the drop in score is going to be like. But what I want to mention to you is you want to have a simple thing like auto pay in place, because for me doing this from 15 years, sometimes I look at people's credit reports and they've lost 50 points for a $40 payment. So if they just put that $40 payment on auto draft, they wouldn't have lost 50 points. And many of the times people have the $40 in their account. It's just that they may be busy. They may be just inundated with their personal life, whatever might be going on. So if you put it on auto pay, then you don't have to worry about losing 50 points for $25. It literally just doesn't make sense. All right. Drop some dollar signs in the chat if you have removed all collections from your account. You don't want to send any red flags to potential lenders that you might not pay them back. So if you have no collections, drop some $signs inside the chat. Okay. All right, here's some more mastery. You no longer have any errors on your credit report. You don't have it. Your name is spelled correctly, your employer is updated, and your address is correct. You don't have it anymore. It's no longer there. Drop some $signs in the chat. No errors on your credit report. You understand the value of utilization, and you do not exceed 30% on your cards. You understand the value of your utilization. So when you look at your credit card, somebody's giving you $1,000, you're not spending more than $300. Drop it in the chat. My utilization is checked, Shani. I'm good. All right, so here's some ways, if you're not in the 750 club, here's some ways that you can get yourself there. Don't ignore your small debts. Don't ignore your small debts. Many people pay their mortgages, their credit cards, their utility bills with consistency, yet they neglect small debts. Neglecting your small debts will drop your scores. Here's a little hack I haven't updated in the presentation that I would like for you to look for. I'm going to drop a link for you to book a free 15-minute consultation just because you're here. So if you want a 15-minute consultation, you have some questions about something that I said, then you can use that 15-minute session to do so. But here's something that I want you to check for yourself. Look at your credit report and see if you have any medical debt. Any medical debt. As of January the 8th of 2025, that's this year, medical debt can no longer be reported on your credit report. So it doesn't matter if it's $500, $1,500, $1,800, it can no longer play a role in your credit report. So if you look at your credit report and you see any medical debt, whether it's the original creditor or if it's a collection company, you can dispute that, get that off. All right. Pay your accounts on time. And if you have to be late, don't be late more than 30 days. So it doesn't actually hit your report until you're late 30 days. You may get a fee if you're late by 5 days. So cool, call those people, negotiate with them about the fee, but that $40, that $50, that $120, don't be late for that on 30 days. One of the things that my clients come to me for is to boost their credit scores so that they can buy a house. But what happens when their credit scores start going up, they forget that they came to me to buy a house. And then they finally get that $5,000 credit card that they didn't have because now they have good credit. So they start opens up lots of new accounts all at once within a 12-month period. If you're looking for a mile marker, no more than 3 new credit cards within the year. No more than 3. No more than 3. Because when you start excessively applying, you obviously pick up lots of inquiries. And then by picking up lots of inquiries, each inquiry is worth 3 to 5 points. So 3 for the year is pretty good. Keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it. Check your credit score about 6 months in advance that you're planning to make a purchase, like buying a house or a car, that will require you to take out a loan. So check your credit score about 6 months into when you're planning to make a major purchase. Keep your head high, but your utilization low. Credit card balance is low, under 30% to be exact. So one of the things that you can do when you get off the call, pull your credit report, look at it. What is my credit availability versus my credit limit? See how close you can get that to 30%. If 30% feels overwhelming, start with 50%. If you owe someone $1,000, see how closely what you need to do, what action you need to take to get that down to 50%. All right, so let's check your credit pulse. Drop some $signs in the chat if you're feeling a little more credit confident. You're better than you started. You're better than you started. You're better than you started. Drop some dollar signs inside the chat. Let your mind see some money. All right, here goes some tools that you can use, some tools that you can definitely use. You can lock your LexisNexis report. You can lock it. I'm going to leave this here so that you can take a screenshot if you'd like. You can lock it. You can do a security freeze by mailing and saying you like to freeze it. You can do a phone call, you can do online. Largely, my clients will use LexisNexis if they want to be disputing information on their credit report. So locking it with LexisNexis would stop someone who you're disputing against going over to this larger credit report and checking to see if the information that's being disputed is actually real or not. So by locking that, you can. Also, for those that are in the 750 club and you already have enough credit cards, locking your LexisNexis reports, filling out a opt-out could also stop unnecessary inquiries coming in your direction and dropping your scores. It can also limit individuals having access to your credit profile. So here's something else that many of you may know or may not know. This was something that was kind of being tampered with for the new administration. We had the CFPB. So, a lot of times you hear people saying the credit bureau, the credit bureau, the credit bureau. There's only one credit bureau. There's only one. Everyone else is a credit reporting agency. They actually have to pay to receive your information. But this is the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. It is the only credit bureau. So you can go there and submit a claim for free. What was bothering me with this new administration is that these people were being fired and hired by the day. They were being shuffled around, but they ended up having to put them back in place because their claims were backed up by 14,000. So they had to rehire those people. They had to put people back in place. It was crazy. So this is the only bureau. It only takes you maybe about 5 minutes to file a complaint there. The system is very simple. It's not very convoluted. The only way that you would need a professional is if you're busy and you're filing one complaint. So if you file one complaint, that may get the job done. But for me, in my experience, I typically have to file up to 5 to 6 complaints for my clients. So if you don't have that type of dedication to do that, then it would be better to hire a professional. But if you have that kind of time, you can use this as a resource, get some of that old stale debt off your credit report and get your scores up. All right. There's other 2 ways that you can work with me. Obviously, I will put in the chat where you can book a free 15-minute consultation if you want me to look at your credit report. If you want to share something with me that you don't actually want to share with everyone else, then you can use the free 15 minutes to do that. And then I also have a book. It's called Money Therapy. Just in my experience with working with people for the last 15 years, credit isn't just about your behavior. It's typically about something that brought you to that point. It could have been a divorce. It could have been a new relationship. It could have been job loss. It could have been a booming new business. It could be so many different things. So that is my book. It is on Amazon. You can grab it and it'll help you kind of chart yourself where you are, where you need to be, and some behaviors that you need to address. All right, thank you. That has been my time. I hope you stick around with me because I'm going to close this out, and that way you can ask me some questions that I might have got your minds going. So I am going to pause for a moment, let myself breathe after. And as I breathe, I will be checking the chat for any questions that you may have as it relates to getting yourself to a 750 credit score.
All right, all right. Listen, I'm super excited. Did y'all learn? Like, did y'all get anything from this? Does anybody? I have time for 1 or 2 questions, and then we're gonna move on. First of all, I was able to help my husband get his scores up by 50 points by simply, I don't even know if I could say this, Shawnee, but she was able to add him onto a user's card or a card member, let's just say it was Amex. That Amex card had been 25 years old. It had a 70, $80,000 limit. The people were only using 1,000, and literally the scores went from the 680s, which was still good, to over the 700s. And so if you've learned something today, if you have a question, you can just unmute yourself and just ask that one question. And I got room for 2 questions. Trade lines, that's right. He was able, and he had decent credit, but he had no credit. Does that make sense? He had nothing actively going on. Because to maintain credit scores, you got to be using the card, paying it down, using the card, paying it down. Like, that's how they measure your activity. Go ahead, Kiana.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Shawnee. How are you?
Good morning. Hey, Kiana.
Hey, question. Um, do you recommend to get put on someone's credit card as an authorized user to increase your credit score?
Yeah, that's what Claudia was just talking about. That's
Oh, okay.
something that that's something that I did for her when they were opening their school. So her husband generally just really didn't have much credit. And there's not a whole bunch of scenarios where I'll say this will work overnight, but a trade line literally works within 15 to 30 days. So you may have a 600 credit score. However, the challenge when it comes to adding a trade line is how many collections you have. So typically you want to get under $2,500 in collections before you add a trade line. Otherwise, it's going to work not as well as you would prefer it to. It will not work as well as you would prefer it. So you want to have under $2,500 in collections. And then, because the goal of adding the trade line, just like what Claudienne was saying about her husband, is he wanted to buy a school. So he needed to have access to a high trade line, one that had age on it, one that had a high amount. Right. So if my clients come on in separate from getting into property, a trade line can be used to get you a higher credit card as well. So for instance, let's say all you have right now is a $500 credit card. If I attach you to a $40,000 credit card, you no longer just have access to 500. So when you go out and apply for a credit card, you now can gain access to 2,500, 3 grand, 5 grand, because you're attached. The rule of thumb is that you can gain access to 31% of the highest credit card on your profile. So the higher the trade line is, the more access you have to credit. But I caution you, just in my professional experience, is that if you have under $2,500 in collections, then you have a higher chance of getting a higher credit card. All
Okay,
right.
so as an authorized user, it's considered a trade line?
Yes, every single thing on your credit report is a trade line. Everything on your credit report, every credit card you have, if you own a property, anything on your credit report is a trade line. So when you get added to someone else's credit card as an authorized user, you're just being added to one of their trade lines. It's the same language. It's synonymous. Terms you might hear as it relates to trade lines could be piggybacking, authorized users, and just trade lines.
Okay, and when you say $2,500 in collections,
Yes.
like, what do you mean
That's
by
the
that?
most. If you look at your credit report, you want to make sure before you pay for a trade line, whether it's with me or if it's with someone else, that you have less than $2,500 in collections before you get the trade line, because you can pay, let's say it's just your friend, right? Let's say it's a parent. Like for me, the way how I know that that works is because the way that I was able to get my first home is that my grandfather had A1 credit. All I had on my credit report was my car. I was paying $235. That didn't speak to my capacity to own a home, right? Not at all. So I added myself to my grandfather's credit report. To my grandfather's credit card. When he added me to his credit card, my credit score shot up to 680. I went and applied for the house. I got it. So maybe you have a family member that you have access to their credit cards. Obviously, I can go look at my grandfather's credit cards. I can look at his credit report. So I knew that he wasn't maxing out his cards. But at the time, I also didn't have any collections on my credit report. right? So depending on how many collections outstanding, that I'm not talking about that you owe a credit card. I'm talking about a
Mm.
collection. You
Okay, yeah,
understand?
that's what I
So
wanted to know. Yeah,
yeah,
like I was a
you
little
want to check.
confused because
Yeah, before, if it's a family member, you can do it. It doesn't matter. Like if it's a family member you're not paying for, it's a mom, a sister, a cousin, an aunt. Fine, you have access to their credit report. You can monitor. Let them do it. It's not a problem. But if it's something that you have to compensate someone for in order for it to work the best that it can, make sure your collections are down very low.
okay, and can you do that with multiple people? I know I asked like multiple questions, but
You wouldn't want to do it with multiple people. You want to do it minimally 3 cards and with someone that you know, because you can't hurt my credit profile, but I can hurt yours. So if you don't
Mm.
have access to my credit cards and I'm out here spending and bending and carrying about, your credit score is going to drop down. So you don't want to get at least 3. Just start with 3 with someone that you have access to their credit profile. You have access to their card. You're able to check and see what their utilizations are. Because that's what, if they're going to be getting late payments, you getting a late payment isn't going to do anything to them. But if they get one, it's definitely going to impact your scores.
okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see. Is there someone else? Okay, hold on. Shawnee, you put a link in the chat prior to the beginning of your presentation. Can you put that link in the chat again? I no longer see it. Absolutely, Ashanti. Does a $5,000 credit need to be on one card or can it be split between multiple cards? It can be split between multiple cards, Andrea, but it does speak to when you have $5,000 in credit availability on one card, especially if you like to use your points during, because that means I can just use one credit card. If I got $5,000 on one credit card, then I can just use that card and live my entire life on it, get all of my points during the month, pay my bill with the points, and then I'm kind of done with it. So it speaks to a level of leverage. And if you don't have a 5,000 credit, at least a $5,000 credit card, you probably have collections and your utilization is too high. That's probably one or the two. One or the two. Right.
Right. All
That's
right,
it.
Shawnee, I think I don't have any more time for questions, but I want to say I did put the link in there, guys. Why are we disputing with Equifax? Why are we disputing with Equifax and TransUnion? Why? Because y'all have 3 scores, okay? You have 3 scores. Lenders will typically take the middle of the 3. So if you have things that you can dispute or that needs to be disputed on Equifax, TransUnion, or Experian, then do so because you get 3 scores. The lender will look at the 3rd score, and don't think that they only look at scores. They also look at the meat and potatoes. Okay, you can have a 700 score, but you could also have 2 mortgage lates and you could be screwed. That can happen because everything else is just so perfect. So just be mindful. Be mindful. And although that's not the norm, I've seen it. Okay,
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah. And just to answer your question, it's can student loans be removed? Yes, it's very important, Marie. Just those two, Claudienne, and then I'm gonna go. But I did leave my link and I did put my Instagram link there as well. That's something that I'm always kind of addressing these questions. Hold on, am I muted? No, I'm not. Okay, so student loans can be removed. When you're looking at this particular administration, you're just going to find more errors. You're just going to find more errors. So much so that, right, I recently, when it comes to student loans, I'm also working with consumer law attorneys specifically because you can actually sue the companies, you can sue the student loans, all that stuff can actually happen. I have a client that's involved in a lawsuit right now because they actually report it. And when you see all this stuff going on, this is a time to look at your credit report because they're always messing up something because they're doing too many things at once. So my client, she has $125,000 in student loans being reported twice. So $250,000. I've already got them to remove one, but because they did that during the period of time when she is qualifying for a home, they're being sued. So student loans can be removed. Student loans, you have to make sure that you're paying attention because they are errors. The last thing when it comes to disputing your credit report, $75. I have $75. This family attacking over 22 years. Danielle, you would have to qualify that just a little bit. I'm not really sure what you're saying. So retype it a little bit and add a little bit more to it, then I can understand it. When it comes to disputing all three of your credit reports, it's because it doesn't make sense to have something come just off Experian, because why would you just only want an Experian? Okay. All right. Danielle says she'll tell you, Claudienne. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I shared that 15-minute link, and you can also find me on Instagram. Many of the questions that you guys are asking today, I'm always doing videos about them because they're just common questions. Thank you, Marie. All right, Claudienne, have a good class. All the best to all of you. You're welcome.
All right. Was that helpful? Did y'all learn anything from Shawnee Curry today? Did y'all learn anything today? If you learned something,
Yes.
just write L in the chat box, the letter L, the letter L, the letter L. She always brings it home for me. And let me tell you, I know a lot of credit people. I do. But I love she's very appointment based. She focuses in this area, right? And her services should be really thousands. I know people that charge $10,000 stuff for this stuff. And I'm telling you, her prices are very economical for the everyday person, rich, middle class, poor, whatever you are in your financial story, you are going to be very, very happy about working with her if that's so what you need. All right, how many people can see my screen? You can see my screen. All right, let me see how I can make this bigger. All right. All right, can y'all see this? Drop a number one if you can see this. Now, this is going to be some of my presentation, but I'm going to skip quite a bit of pages because, as you know, Shawnee did take care of our credit portion for us. I will share this. You can screenshot this, guys. If you need more information, I'll just leave it here for a second. I'll leave it here for a second. You can screenshot it if you so choose. Okay. Just a quick view, credit behavior. I like to call it credit behavior. This is what causes you to have a credit behavior that turns into a credit score. Uh-oh. We want to definitely get back down here. Hold on, let me just do this. All right. Just want to make sure I didn't skip anything that I needed. Okay. All this is credit stuff. I'm not going to spend time on it. She's already done it. Okay, I feel like some of my screen is like off a little bit. Is that good? Is it like cutting off a little bit for you guys? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we're gonna figure it out. Hold on. Give me just a second, guys. Just a second. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. Let me bring it up on Chrome because y'all are gonna say, Claudienne, why do you have so many tabs open? And I'm gonna say, because I just do. All right, let's do that. All right, here we go. All right, let's go here. Can you guys see yet? You guys can see that, okay? All right, good. All right, we're gonna rock with it like this because I don't want to waste any more time. But I'm gonna share with you guys why it's important, no matter if you're in North Carolina, no matter if you're in New York, no matter if you're in Jersey, no matter if you're in California, no matter where you are in the United States of America, I can guarantee you one thing, there are grants that are available. And even if they are not, we can still get you in position to buy. Okay, for those of you that are VA borrowers, okay, that's another conversation. We'll probably do a segment specifically for VA borrowers, but think about if you are a VA, let me just see, can I just poll the room? If you are a veteran, you have served this country in any capacity, Army, Navy, you name it, just type VA in the chat box. VA in the chat box. I do want to, all right, thank you, thank you. Any VA in here? Any VA? Any VA? You've served the country. VA, thanks, Tanya. She's one of our real estate professionals on here. All right. Very quickly, for those of you that may know somebody that is a veteran, 0% down. You can buy investment property up to 4 to 5 units, depending on where you are. No mortgage insurance. If you're 100% disabled, no property taxes. So there are a lot of benefits when you are buying VA, and I'm gonna just leave that there. But for the purposes of this seminar, guys, you can get approved for a loan to start your journey of purchasing real estate. Now, I'll share with you my journey. I did not buy a single family home first. I didn't. I was not interested. I didn't even know any better. There was nothing that said, do this first. I just put 2 and 2 together. I read a book by the name of Rich Dad, Poor Dad in college. I am not an avid reader, but I did read that book and it was an easy read. And when I came out of college and I came into the workspace, if you could just mute your phones, don't worry, I'll mute them for you. All right, perfect. So now what happened, guys? What happened, guys, is I did not buy a single family home. I remembered the principles in Rich Dad Poor Dad some kind of way because I read it in as I was a sophomore or a freshman. By the time I got out of college, that was 3, 4, 5 years later. Okay, so I remembered when I transitioned into real estate, they told me, first of all, let me tell y'all, don't believe what people say. Oh, it's going to take you 9 months to develop your first deal. Baby, I went to closing in 4th month. They ain't know this girl had grit and hustle. I ain't have a lot of skill, but I had hustle. And I was knocking on doors. I was calling my friends. I was calling my friends from college that had made it to the pros. I was selling houses for the Dolphins. I was selling houses for the Heat. Like I was doing it. I've sold Rick Ross a couple of houses. I have done a lot in my reign of real estate. And I tell you, I had hustled, but I didn't have the skill set in the beginning. So I leveraged. Y'all remember cold calling. And I'll tell you, I'm telling you this story because this is how I bought my first duplex. I remember cold calling. I can't make this up. And I'm calling the city of Opelika. Why? Because I'm from Carroll City and Opelika was very comfortable for me. Well, I called the lady. She said, wow, Claudienne, is that your name? I said, yes. She said, how did you know I was interested in selling my house? I said, well, because I have buyers that are interested in moving into the area. And she said to me, wow, can you meet me to my house on this day? I said, sure, can you confirm the address? Baby, she said 123 Star Island, and I almost passed out. Listen, I got with Tom Rabady in my office, who had extensive experience. and we went and did amazing things. So listen to this. I'm now a real estate agent making a lot of money, and I'm buying a lot of things. How many people know what I'm talking about? I'm buying a lot of things, but very quickly, my rich mom was talking to me in my ear. She was not talking in the moment. But see, what happens when you're around great people, you don't gotta pick up the phone and ask them what they think. You already know what they think, and you're able to make a decision based on what you've learned. Does that make sense? It's like the little angel and the devil talking to you. Claudienne, stop buying those things. Those $2,000 shoes not gonna get you no money. They gonna hurt your feet. I already been there, done that. And this is a lady we have flown private already. Like, she was rich. She still is. And so I said, you know what? I'm gonna buy a duplex. And that's what I did. Why did I do this first? I am not suggesting that you do this first, but I am highly recommending that you buy multifamily first. And I'll share with you why. This is very important. If you want to be a borrower like me, if this is not you, don't worry about it. We're going to go to single family in a minute. Okay. But I knew when I got to this age, which was 10 years ago, 35 and 45, I did not want to be caught up in sales because you're as good as your next sale. I knew I would eventually want to do something different. That's just my personality. So now what do? I coach a bunch of realtors, a lot of them, over 300 of them. But this is what I wanted to do first. I bought this very duplex. Right off of 191st and 36th Avenue. You can see the address there. Can you guys see that address? Right behind the store across the street from Strawberries, the green. Yeah, some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Across the street from Carroll City Middle. That duplex right there. And it looked just like this. And I remember buying this at the time with 3% down. We were in a different market space, 3% down, and the seller paid for all of my closing costs. I paid, guys, and I did this intentionally, and I want to make sure y'all see this because this is not just talk. This is facts. Okay? What year? Y'all type in the chat box, what year did I purchase this duplex? What year? There is my name, Claudienne Hibbert. My team screenshotted this from public records. Okay? They screenshotted this from public records. This is my name. When did I buy? Type it in the chat. What year did I buy? No. What year? Let me make this bigger for y'all. Y'all not looking real good. What year did I buy? In 2009. I purchased in 2009 this building. Okay? 2009. I ultimately sold it in 2022 to a guy named Jeffrey for how much money? 400 and what? What does that say? Type it in the chat box. I need y'all to, I want to make sure y'all are paying attention to what I am sharing with you. I paid $84,000. I sold 18 years later for $420,000. Not only that, I started my rents at $1,300. In fact, I had one tenant the whole time I owned that building. 2 tenants in the other building for the entire 18 years. Watch this. Is that 18 years? I don't even know. Let me do the numbers really quickly. Okay, I sold it in 2022. And I bought it in 2009. 13 years. Sorry, 13 years. 13 years. 13 years. I collected anywhere from $1,300 to $1,600 over time from one unit times 2. And this was my first deal. And I share with you this. I did not know enough about real estate. I didn't know a lot about investing, but I took a risk. Y'all, I was making $1,600 a month. Now watch this. I was closing deals and making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in one commission check 3 and 4 times a month. I've done over $1 billion in sales. But I took a risk. I took a risk. And the risk happened to be great. Do you know I've made over $1 million on this property? I was not looking at the 1,600. Here's what I was looking at. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second. In fact, I want to go on my whiteboard. Is this making sense to y'all? Is this making sense? Nobody was going to retire me like they tried to retire my mom. They forced her out of the workplace. They forced her into retirement. I was not going to go out like that. That was a great example for me. It was a great example of what I didn't want to do. But here's what I thought. I said, man, if I could make $1,600 a month and do this 6 times, no, 10 times, but my goal was to do it 10 times. What would I have been making every month? How much money? If I did this just once every year for the next 10 years, I would be making $16,000. Now, I bought way more than one property a month. So I make more than $16,000. I took all the money I made. Why did I choose real estate? There was no ceiling on what somebody told me I could make. I could make $100,000 a month, or I could make $50,000 a month, or I could decide I didn't want to do anything. I controlled that narrative. So that's why I became a realtor, not because I had a passion. No, I had no passion because I know nothing about it. I knew I could make a lot of money though, because I saw that lady make 40 grand in 2 months. I became passionate because I realized the need and what was happening in my financial life. Y'all are talking to a girl who was on food. I had everything except Section 8. I had WIC. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about, the block cheese and the gallons of cow milk and the baby formula. You know what I'm talking about. Come on now. You know, we didn't have those cards. We had the paper. You had to go to the register with the paper. You couldn't be discreet like you had a little credit card. No. Y'all following what I'm saying? So this potentially could be you right now. Okay? So watch what happens here. Okay? So that's just one little simple example. I've done this over and over and over again. Y'all will be here all day. Y'all will be here all day. But I like to put it here not to showboat, but to show you what could happen. Now, for some of you saying, well, that was in 2009. Claudienne, we in 2025. The inflation is real. Well, guess what? I'll tell you this. You better find you another way to make more money because it's not going anywhere. I just showed you, and look at this. In 1996, somebody bought this property for $99,000. 76, 38, 90, 68, 95, 79, 99. There has literally been an increase. And then 2009, I bought for 84. I don't know what was going on, but I bought it. Had no concept of the value of real estate. I just know I was making a lot of money and I wasn't going to keep going to Aventura Mall to go to the shoe store and spend all of it up. I learned that very quickly. Okay. Accelerating, moving forward. And I'll show y'all this. No, I won't show y'all right now. But I've been able to maximize, guys, and buy a whole school building at 3.3 million, 25,000 square feet, because I was able to leverage my income. My husband and I were able to leverage real estate that we had. And I'm going to tell you something, 2024 was a very challenging year for me. It was my most challenging year of my entire adult life. When I acquired this monstrosity of a building, I didn't realize initially, and I'm this person, buy it and figure the rest out later. That's me. How many people, like I quit my job I had a baby. I had no child support. I had nothing. I had no health insurance. I said, I'm going to just figure it out later. And I did. And I did that with this building. So 2024 was very trying for me, but we made it through and we're still making it through. But can y'all imagine we bought a building a year and a half ago for 3.3 million and today it's worth 6 million? Could you fathom that in your mind? Do you know when Legacy and Legend turn, and those are my youngest kids, 3 and 4, when they turn of age at the age of 18, what that building is going to be worth? Man, they're gonna be able to sell that building for 50 million if they so choose to want to do it. All right, so enough storytelling for Claudienne. Okay, I want to make this small so you can see it. Understanding your loan options, guys, is going to be very key. Now, if you're in Florida, this is only for Florida. We're going to go over some other grants and options in other states, and I'm going to show you how. But this is for Florida. Right now, I want you to get prepared for this $100 million. Okay? I don't know why the other states ain't asking for the money from the federal government. I can't ask you that. I'm not in government. But what I can tell you is that we got it here in Florida. And there are other programs in places like North Carolina, Georgia, California, I said Georgia. I mean, I could just name all the states, okay? And we're gonna help you locate them. Now, this is really for multi-unit and single family. Let me share with you this. Why did I not buy single family first? Because it had one door. And it was going to mean that I was going to now start working to pay bills. I did not want that. I stayed in my little apartment right here on Pembroke Road in Flamingo, paying my little rent. I did not care what people said about me. I was not going to buy the house with the white picket fence to be paying a mortgage. I wish I could show y'all my palm trees. They cost me about $500 to cut each. I wish I could show you the pool when the pump goes bad. I wish I could show you the pavers in the front that literally doubled during COVID at 40 grand. I wish I could share with you the roof quotes I got at 50, 60, $70,000 as time went on. COVID came. There was no more $40,000 roof. The roof went to $80,000. That doesn't make sense to me financially. So now what would happen is that Claudienne would be in a rat race. I would be working to pay bills, and I didn't want to do that. So what I did do though was I bought that first duplex. Then I bought another duplex. Then I bought a 4-unit. Then I bought another 4-unit. Then I bought a single family home because I couldn't pay anybody to buy. It was $60,000. It was a mess inside, but the roof was new because Hurricane Wilma had torn up the roof. So they had gotten the insurance to fix the roof. The bones of the house was amazing. They could have used a product. This is where you start writing notes. You could have used an FHA 203K, a renovation loan product. I use them for my clients all the time. Well, what is that? Well, you take a house like that. I call it the Barney house because it was purple. You take a house like that and you want to do the kitchen over, you want to do the bathrooms over, you want to do the plumbing over. As long as there's equity, which there was a lot of equity. That house I bought for $60,000 was worth like $200 at the time. Somebody say, come on. Somebody say, come on. I tried to get officers to buy it, teachers to buy it. Nobody could see the vision. Y'all type vision in the chat box. Type vision in the chat box. Now, I don't know who I'm talking to, but maybe I'm talking to myself. I gotta go on live because this is real good. I don't know if it's good to y'all, but I sound like I'm talking good. So guess what? We going on live right now. Ha ha! We're gonna go on live right now because this sounds good to me. It makes me remember where I started and where I'm going. It just reminds me of where I started and where I'm about to go. Y'all excited? How many people knew that you could take a loan product of just take a house, $60,000. Let's say it's going to take you another $60,000. As long as there's equity there, the bank takes it together, put it together. Now you have a loan and a renovation product. You have a loan for $120,000. You must select a licensed and insured contractor, get the work done within 6 months, and you are in your house with one mortgage payment with an FHA product. Somebody say, come on. It just takes the right people and person to understand what is going on. Okay? I don't want to talk about conventional loans right now because that's not the basis of this property. Okay? You got to be able to calculate your down payment. Now, I can tell you this. Hometown Heroes is coming in July. A lot of people not talking about it because it's not even official yet. It's not official. Okay? There's a major meeting happening in the beginning of May, but if you wait to May, you're going to be behind the bar. Some of y'all need to get your credit right. This is the time to do it. This is the time to do it. No, yesterday was Passover. Tomorrow is Easter. I'm not the pastor, but I get excited, y'all. I get excited about this stuff. Okay? So now let's talk about the $100 million. Initially, year one, they had a very limited list of employment that you needed to have. For example, nurses, healthcare professionals. Let me just sum that area up over there. Baby, you could be a dancer, an exotic dancer, and get these funds. The list is long. Like nobody got no excuse to become a homeowner. For real. You heard me. Is exotic dancer on the list? Yes. Doctors on the list, teachers are on the list, first responders are on the list, entrepreneurs are on the list. Name some of y'all professions on here. Name them on here. Type them in the chat box. I want to be able to say yes to all of them. Teacher, yes. Hello, yes. Hello, yes. Teachers are able to tap into the 100 million. Who else? Home care. Hello. Realtors, yes. Telecommunication, yes. You could work on you could be an engineer, yes. You could be, just human resource, yes. Cosmetologist, yes. See, before, and this is why it's important for some of y'all on here to be in government and to be at the table and not on the menu. Because somebody looked at that list and say, baby, we're not going to go nowhere with this $100 million the first go around with this little bit of employees. We got very good professionals. We got nail techs. We got plumbers. We have electricians that can tap into this money. We got IT field service techs that can tap into the money. So I'm going to share with you the link, and you go in there and look and say, oh, my profession is on there. And even if you don't see exactly what you are, I guarantee you we can fit you somewhere in a position that makes most sense to you. Come on, journalists. Yes. There was somebody that advocated and said, no, we need more than these little 20 employees or employee types you get what I'm saying? And somebody went in there and said, we're going to add all the, if somebody can document employment, then we're going to work with them. Okay? What are you going to do? This is if you're getting a grant or no grant. You need to start getting your tax returns together. Now, entrepreneurs, that would be me. I'm talking to me. I don't know who else I'm talking to, but this is me, my first 10 years in business. I stopped getting traditional loans after a minute because them tax returns everything was being written off because I didn't want to pay Uncle Sam no money. Thank you, Uncle, but no thank you, Uncle. So I started writing off. If I was making $500,000, I was writing off $450,000. I was figuring it out. What marketing expenses? How much money can I donate? And can I say this? I've always had a passion to making a lot. Catering company, yes. I've always had a passion to make a lot of money so I can help a lot of people. So my high school just had a huge festival, and we gave out a 2025 Mercedes. Next year, it's going to probably be a property. Okay, because we're not gonna revert. We're just gonna go high. You know, if I got some other people on here, don't worry, it's okay. But I remember spending $1,000 on raffle tickets, and then I remember spending another couple thousand on some more raffle tickets, and I didn't win. But because I know where the money is going and how it is being used, I did not care. I want to be in a position to write checks. That was my goal for humanity. Okay, so proof of income. If you have not filed your tax returns yet, do me a favor, don't file them. Call me up, call your realtor up and say, hey, I want you to have the mortgage lender look at this to make sure it's the way it needs to be because I'm buying property in 2025. Okay, then they're going to want to look at your bank statements at least the last 2 months. Okay, you cannot go under the mattress and take 100,000 and go drop it in the bank. And then, no, you can't do that because they're going to want to know how and where did that money come from. They're going to want to source the monies. Can y'all do me a quick favor? Can everybody just put their cameras on real quick? I want to see who I'm talking to. Can y'all put y'all cameras on real quick? Can y'all put y'all cameras on real quick? That's what I'm talking about. Okay, good. So now I know who I'm talking about. Okay, now I know who I'm talking to. Okay, good. Thank you. And Marie, it's okay. You might be okay. Okay. We might need to go and amend the taxes. It's okay. All right, good. Now that I know what I'm talking about, y'all know y'all aunties is not about to tell y'all. Let me tell you something that I know about my community. I'll just keep it 100. That's why I wanted to see who I was talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about when I say my community, the people that look like me. You know, when you go ask your auntie, your uncle for them bank statements, they're not going to give them to you. They're going to be like, no, I gave you the money. What else do you need? I'm not giving you my bank account statement because the banks need to source the money. They need to source, write it down. Do not take cash and put it in your bank account and say, hey, here you go. No, you don't. My entrepreneurs on here, there's an entrepreneur loan that allows you to gather 24 months of your bank statements. I know because I've done that too. And they calculate all of the big deposits. They calculate them over the 12 to 24 month period, get an average, and then they decide what your monthly income is. No tax returns are needed. No W-2s are needed. No 1099s are needed. And this probably needs to be another session for my entrepreneurs. But if y'all have a business, make sure you're an employee of the business. Just make it easy so you can just give somebody some W-2s and keep it moving. Then they want to get the business return and this return and that return and this and what. Listen, W-2 yourself, pay your little taxes, and be done. Okay? All right, credit history talked about that. They're going to want to see your 3 scores. Employment verification, okay? A detailed list of your debts and your monthly expenses that's going to be pulled from your credit report. You are qualified based on your income versus debt on your credit report, okay? They're going to look at you're going to start hearing the term income to debt ratio, income to debt ratio, income to debt ratio, income to debt ratio. They're going to look at your income, look at your debt, and say, okay, wait, she's pulling in 10 grand a month, but she's paying out 4,000. She's got $6,000 to work with. Okay. All right. Here's what I love about multi-units. I'm a big champion of multi-units. I would not recommend that you buy a single family home first. Here is why. Pay attention. If you move into the house that you are going to occupy first, they're going to count all that debt against you. So if you got a 3 grand mortgage, now it's against you. Now it just took 3,000 away from your income. So I'm going to share a screen. I ain't planning to do this, but I think it's important. Okay. I think it's important. Okay. All right. Are y'all tracking with me? Are y'all tracking with me? If you're a W-2 employee, I'm not talking about y'all. Y'all can file y'all tax returns. It's really the entrepreneurs who just want to write off everything. And then they made 200,000 and their tax return showed 20. You're not buying no house. Nowhere in America. Nowhere in America. Okay? All right, y'all tracking good. So watch what happens here. If you buy a single, let's just say a 4-unit, and you are going to move into one, right? So this is the 4-unit. Y'all following me here? I know my graphics. This is you. This is your unit of the 4 units. Let's say the other 3 units are rented. Let's say the other 3 units are rented. Let's say the other 3 units are rented for $2,000, $2,000, and $2,000. Okay? They're going to say, wait, this building is making $6 grand. We'll take 75% of the income that's already in the building. You don't own this yet, but we're going to give it to you, Natasha. Wanda, we're going to give you 75. We're going to give you a credit for 75% of the income of $6,000. Can somebody tell me what 75% of $6,000 is? We're going to add 75% of the income coming in from this building right now, and we're going to allocate it towards your income. Does this make sense? Now, I take my glasses off because FHA says that you must have the intent on moving into a house. I'll give you an example. I have a client bought a house from me. It's actually one of my old houses. And he was transferred here from Southwest, from Texas, I believe, to right here in Miramar. And then right when he closed, guess what happened? He got transferred to Oklahoma, which is where he wanted to be. He's an engineer. He left. He could not reverse the purchase. He just rented it out. That was it. And he ended up buying another house, FHA. Okay? Does it make sense, y'all? Is it making sense? All right, good. All right, good. So now this is what I'm talking about. If the property already has tenants, you can include the potential. I should remove potential. It's not potential. It is the actual income coming into the property to help you qualify for the loan. They're going to ask you for lease agreements, etc. Okay. Now you're going to shop for a mortgage. Okay. You're going to get approved. We just went over that. You're going to call a real estate professional like me. That's my plug. In fact, those of y'all already heard enough. If you heard enough, that's the link. I'm actually going to get you the clickable link, but that is the link. Take it somewhere, and we're going to go through it together, so don't worry. Okay? So now you're going to find a property, you're going to make an offer, go through appraisal and inspections, okay? Do not skip your appraisal. Do not skip your inspection. Your real estate professional should be at the property appraisal and the inspection and anything else that you need to do at this property. Okay? That is what we get paid to do. Okay? That is what we get paid to do. We're there to help you along the way. And when we don't show up, I'm not sure if that's help. I'm honestly not sure if we're helping you. Then you're going to make sure your title work is done. You're going to get. All right, they want me to put the link here. See, the people on Instagram is listening, baby. They is listening, honey. I'm ready to buy .net. Dang. You know, I can see when y'all fill out the form. Thank you for the 4 people that just filled it out. That was fast. All right, so now you're going to do something called title work because they're going to give you title insurance. What's the importance of the title insurance, okay? This is the importance of title insurance. I'll use Miami-Dade County as an example. The water bill does not go and follow the buyer or the owner. It doesn't say, oh, wait, hey, you owe this money. That thing stayed to the property. Now, Natasha's the new homeowner, and she has a lien against the property that now she owns, that the title company should have made clear or paid, had the previous seller pay that water lien bill before they took ownership, before Natasha took ownership. Well, guess what? They missed it. Title insurance allows you to file a claim, just like if you have home insurance. Title insurance allows you to file a claim to get that water bill paid if they can't find the seller. That happens. I've seen people close with outstanding mortgages on their properties. It happens all the time, but it happens. Got to remember, I got 24 years. I've seen a lot. Okay, you're going to finalize the mortgage and close. Now, moving forward with the purchase, I want to skip some things because I want to go into, and I got 30 minutes, so I have to go through now what grants look like for you, okay? And I'm going to start here in Florida, and if you're not in Florida, I don't want you to move because there are grants in Detroit. There are grants, I should say Michigan. There are grants in other places that you can have access to. And I want to share with you that I got a team all over the United States of America and 5 different countries. So this is not a little thing for me. This is big. This is bigger than what you guys can imagine. Okay? Now, I want to stop for a second. Anybody has any questions? Anybody has any questions for me? Sheila, your hand is up. Go ahead.
Good. Great morning, Claudienne. My question is, I'm sorry, my mouth is full. I apologize. Is this something that I can do in Pennsylvania? I own a condo already. So that was my first purchase. Will I still be able to get a multi-unit? Because that is my next goal.
Absolutely. What you would want to do from here is just complete that link. I'm ready. I am ready to buy.net, and we will take care of you from there and get you prepared.
Awesome. Okay, we'll do. Thank you.
All right. Now, any more questions? Any more questions? All right. I'm going to ask y'all for a 30-second break. Give me 1 minute. All right, I'm back. I was thirsty. I was talking real good. I got thirsty. All right. Okay. So let's talk about what you're going to be gearing yourself up for. What does this program look like? You can get up to $35,000 in home buyer assistance. Yep, exactly, Charlene. All right, so let me share this back. All right, so some people, that's the 8th submission. Thank y'all. So now, let me just put her hand down so I don't get confused. All right, so it's relaunching July 1st, guys. We ran through this money very quickly before, and a lot of us here did not tap into those resources, okay? It is designed to first and support first-time home buyers. This is very key. What does home buyer mean? First-time home buyer. It does not mean the first time you ever bought a home. It just simply means you have not owned a property in your name by way of mortgage or title in the last 3 years. So if you've not owned a house or property in the last 3 years, whether it's paid off, you cannot inherit a property and then say you don't own a home. You own that house, whether you have a mortgage or not. And there are some exceptions to the rules. So we'll just take that case by case, but it just simply means first-time home buyer means this in all states and all circumstances when you are looking to borrow or get a grant for a home purchase. You just must not own a home prior 3 years. That's not the same for FHA. We have left that alone. Those are different loan types. This is a program offered through the government. Okay, this is going to help you with your down payment and closing costs. It helps essential workers become home owners across the state. What does the program offer? I just told you. There's no interest. It's 30-year deferred second mortgage. Okay? You never pay it back, y'all. You do not pay it back. It is good for FHA, VA, USDA, and conventional loans. Okay? Now, let's say I'm going to use Miami because I'm in Miami. Okay? But could be in Michigan. This could be in New York. We allow you to stack programs. So let's just say you want to move in Miami Gardens. Well, you could use this, and Miami Gardens has a grant for $20,000. You can stack. You can get the loan, you can get the grant, and then you can get the other grant. So that means you got 2 grants and 1 loan. That's what we mean when we say you can stack grants. Okay, MD has a grant program. Okay, you could use MD, the Miami-Dade Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust. Okay, that is something that you can tap into. Okay, and that they're offering over $30,000, so you can get all 3. Okay, I do want to say this. I work with, you're going to notice when you call me, I'm going to listen and I'm going to look at the survey and see what type of borrower you are. Okay. If you're a borrower that needs grants, I'm not sending you to somebody who doesn't primarily do grants. There's a lot of paper pushing, but I would rather push the paper for 60 days or 30 days for 30 years of home ownership. Y'all follow what I'm saying? It makes sense. Like, don't get discouraged because somebody say, oh, it take too long. Okay, well, you don't own nothing. You 50 and you still don't own nothing. So, I mean, you 30 and you don't own, like, you see what I'm saying? Y'all make this make sense to me. If it take you 60 days, that ain't nothing. Okay? You have to work full time, at least 35 hours a week. Okay? This property, whether it's a single family, up to 4 units, must be considered your primary residence. That means that you have an intent on moving into the property. Okay? There is a home buyer's education course that you must complete. It's 8 hours. Y'all will start seeing this stuff and be like, I ain't going to no class on Saturday. Y'all sleep. I would. I teach them. So if I could teach them, you can attend. Okay? And then we're going to share with you some lenders who are experts at getting you to the finish line. Y'all, please don't say, oh, my friend is a lender. My neighbor's a lender. You know, I told her I was doing this today. I said, no, but you don't call people back. She said, okay, we're going to run. We're running the reverse mortgage campaign, right? So a lot of older people losing their houses because they can't pay their mortgage. That's a whole separate conversation. But I love her. I go to her condo in the DR. I go over here. But the truth is, I need people who are going to be on it. This is not for me. It's for you. You see what I'm saying? It's not for me. It's for you. So I'm not going to use the lender that's my good friend for you and screw you up. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to use somebody that has expertise in this market. And the truth is, she really does. Or she overwhelmed. Does this make sense? Don't use people you just, oh, they my friends. You're not going to get a house because they don't know how to formulate this program. Okay? You have to use the professionals that know what they're doing. Y'all, I'm a lender. I can do loans. I am not going to do this loan for you. It's not about the money. It's about getting you where you need to go. Okay? There are loan limits and so I'll show you this. Let me just give me a minute. I want to show you what the loan limits are in each state, in each county. Sorry, in each county. Let me just share this with you. Okay? Look at Broward. They tell you what the income limit is. Okay? Income limits for Broward is $158,000. How many people on here make less than $158,000 a year? Just drop a number 1. Drop a number, just drop a number 1 if you make less than $158,000 a year. Okay. That means a lot of y'all qualify. And guess what? The limit It's $498 to $766. Y'all, this is a no-brainer. Let's go down to Miami. How many people make more than 170 on this call today? You make more than 170 on this call today. You make more than 170 on this call today. Good. Looks like so every county is participating in this project. Okay? And if you're not in Florida, don't worry. I'm going to get to you next. Here are the eligible properties. We've been talking about this a lot. Okay? Healthcare, education, first responders, military, others. Now, if you just go to this little link right here, it will share with you all of, hold on, I want to make sure I get to the right space. Well, for the sake of time, here's the website that you would go to literally pull the income limits, okay? You can connect with a loan officer. We have several on staff, okay? I have the list already pulled up, so I'll share it with you in just a moment. But you can go straight to that website and say, okay, is my employment there? Or you could just give us a call and we will guide you. Okay? We will guide you. Okay? All right. Uh-oh, I lost my little presentation, y'all. Hold on. My little presentation. All right, here we go. Is this making sense? And what I want to do, what I think I want to do is do an in-person session. If you think that this sounds good, I want to do an in-person session where you're bringing all of your income documents in and we're getting you ready. Like we want to go through right now. Here's everything that you have. And then here's what you need. Or maybe you don't need anything. You get your approval right there on the spot. Would y'all like something like that? Thank you, Andrea Matthews. My hair looks so pretty. Thank you. Would y'all like something like that? Okay. I'm going to create it just for you guys. And then what I'll do is email you and let you know when we're going to do it so that you can register and sign up. All right. So here we go. Okay. Let's fix this up. All right. Here we go. Let's get down to where we are. We're getting ready to close out, guys. Okay. So boom. Here's a recap. This is just to boost your capacity to buy, support those in the communities, could be used from 1 to 4 units, flexible with multiple loan types, open doors for long-term equity and home buyers, okay? How to apply, I told you already, you got to take an 8-hour course. I see some of you have already taken it. We're going to get you approved, get you with a realtor who's serious about business, understand what a buyer's presentation is, take you through that process, get you ready for the Hometown Heroes program. If you are not on your phone, you can just scan this. I'm ready to buy.net. If you are ready, it is free. This is not, oh, now Claudienne is getting ready to sell nothing. No, it just tells me a survey of what I'm looking at so that I don't spend the first 30 minutes of our conversation trying to figure it out. I go right into action, okay? The best time to buy was 5 years ago, but I'll share with you this. If you wait another 5 years, you sleep. You should wake up. You sleep. You really should wake up. Because if you think, I remember when gas was 99 cents. Do y'all remember that? And then it went to 150, 130, 150. And we all thought it was going to come down to 99 cents. Well, baby, let me tell you something. I was in college. and I had a vehicle that my rich mom bought because I graduated without getting suspended anymore in school. And she said, if you act right, I will buy you a vehicle. And she did. But I could not drive that vehicle home from Gainesville because gas was expensive. They didn't tell me that part. I would ride home with people and contribute to the gas. I can't make it up. Yeah, you gotta think about the tires getting burned. Now I gotta go buy tires. I ain't got money for that kind of stuff. Okay, so the best time to buy is now. If you are not on your phone, it doesn't matter. Scan the QR code or go to I'mReadyToBuy.net, and this is what the survey looks like. If you are on Instagram, same thing, I'mReadyToBuy.net. Okay, I was referred by, let's say Kiana's a realtor, I was referred by Kiana, or if it's Claudienne, make sure it's me, because we want to make sure you get back to the professional that invited you here. And if you are not in Florida, I still don't want you to move yet. Okay, your name, your month of birth, and really we need your month of birth because they just want to say happy birthday in our CRM every year that your birthday comes. Your email, your phone number, your mailing address. We'd like to send you a little something in the mail. What are your 3 credit scores? If you don't know what they are, that's okay. Push 0. We will get you where you need to be. Is there a second borrower? Is there a second buyer? Are you interested in primary or investment? What type of property are you interested in? Is it single family, condo, multifamily, townhome? If you choose commercial, what type of commercial? Single family below? How many rooms you need? How many bathrooms you need? Etc. Okay. Are you financing or paying cash? I have to ask that question. How much money do you have saved for your down payment? Okay. Be truthful. If it's $1,000, write 1,000. If it's 50,000, write 50,000. Have you been pre-approved or pre-qualified? If not, we can help you with that. Who would you like me to partner? Would you like me to partner with you with one of our lenders? What is your annual income? What is your ideal mortgage payment? And when is your ideal move-in date? Okay. Now, you don't live in Florida, but I still want some money, Claudienne. Y'all, don't sleep on ChatGPT, okay? Watch this. Watch this. Let me share. Am I sharing my screen yet? Okay. Please show me, please share with me grant funds towards homeownership in all 50 states. Guys, it's very simple. Like, let this stuff do the work for you. Look at this. I can't make this stuff up. We got Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana. Did y'all learn the states like that in elementary? Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina. Y'all get the point. Okay? There are all kind of programs in all states. Okay, what we would do is get you with one of our, some of y'all know what I'm talking about. How many people learned the states of the United States with that song in kindergarten? That was me. Miss Jones was my kindergarten teacher. I loved her. Exactly. Y'all want to get ready to get me to miss no states and get a B on my assignment. Honey, I was, all right, that's not the point. The point is that I have realtors in almost every state of the United States of America. And if you're that person that says, Claudienne, I am ready to get started, I'm going to partner with you. I'm going to partner you with one of my business partners in those states and in that city. I'm not going to send you a realtor that's 3 hours away from where you want to be. Okay, I'm not going to do that. But we're going to partner you with the person that, or the professional that can carry you from beginning to end, which is closing and beyond. There's really never an end. Okay. So guys, I'm going to open it up for questions, and then I'm going to go take my kids to the Easter egg drop at Hadley Park with Vu. And then we're going to close this up. Y'all ready to go? Bye, y'all, on Instagram. Hope you enjoyed it. Click the link, get started. Anybody has a question, just unmute yourself. Just
Hey,
unmute yourself.
hi,
and ask a question.
Claudienne.
Hey.
Quick question. If if I want to get together with family members to purchase a 4-unit, that's what we're trying to do. But everyone is entrepreneurs and everybody get their income down low, write off stuff. So I mean, how would we do that?
I would definitely just advise you to click the link. Let's do an info session with the group, see where
Okay.
we are as a whole, and go from there. You don't
Perfect.
need to do tax returns. You could do possibly a bank statement loan. We call it the entrepreneur loan, but it is called the bank statement loan.
So I can get everyone together, contact you, and we can do a group session. I mean,
Absolutely.
ideally, everybody would like to get their own place, but I think we could also get together and just do an investment property.
Now I didn't plan to do this, but let's just see if she answers.
Thank you.
Hey girl, I'm on the middle of my Zoom, but I was hoping you answered. First of all, y'all say congratulations. She just bought her commercial property. My girl from the Matchbox in Carroll City is a whole speech language pathologist with her own commercial space. All right, y'all say congrats. Y'all say congrats.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
Watch this.
Yay.
Now, I didn't even call you for this, but I'm gonna ask you just because I know this happened to you when you were a school teacher. She was a school teacher turned speech pathologist. And y'all know what our school teachers make. How much money did you get when you purchased your house? When you purchased it almost 14 years ago, you were a part of a grant program. How much money you believe or you remember you got?
Well, the first part, the down payment, I think was $38,000. And then the amount for the repairs, I think may have been, if I remember correctly, another maybe between 40 and 50.
Yep. I believe you had over 100,000 in grant funds.
Yes, for sure. It was over 100. If I'm not mistaken, it may have been total of about 130,000.
Y'all heard that? Y'all sleep. All right. Now, that's not really what I called you for. I just had a question on here. She has a group of entrepreneurs like ourselves that want to start to buy investment properties. You are a part of that, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so let me just share with you guys. This is my best friend from high school who we got together. We pooled monies together. I was not in the group. I was the group's real estate agent. And we were able to take a school teacher, speech therapist, a banker. What does Tamika do? She has her PhD and she runs programs and stuff like that for schools. And we all got together and whatever they could afford to pay into the pot was their percentage pool. So it was almost like an investment fund. And I think we did about 3 or 4 properties.
Yes.
We did about 3 or 4 properties. So would you say that it worked?
Yes, for sure it worked.
All right. And did we make money?
Yes, we did make money.
We made a lot of money, y'all. So I just called you off the cuff. Really, I appreciate you. I'll call you back. So I don't play around, y'all. When we say we make things happen, we make things happen. These are professionals. Like I took her and said, I don't care what you're doing. You're coming to get this money. I showed her 2 properties. She bought one. She's been living there for 14 years. That property she paid $89,000 for is now worth $600,000. Don't be sleep. Come on, Janae. Janae, you there? All right, any more questions? Charlene Garrett?
Yes, I have a question. I'm gonna put the brakes on buying a house like a single family that I was thinking about doing. What about the rent to own program like Home Partners of America? Would that count against me?
Count against you like how?
debt to equity ratio.
I'm not sure that I understand the question. Maybe ask it again.
Okay, so like Home Partners of America, what they do is they buy the house for you and you just rent it. And then if you decide to buy it, you could.
Yeah, you should qualify. If you qualify, absolutely.
Okay, and then I can rent that house and then come July the 1st when the money become available, I can do the multifamily instead.
Well, you remember with this grant, you cannot own a property 3 years prior. So from July 1st to 3 years prior, you cannot be a homeowner of any house, not even an investment.
Okay.
If you want
I'm not home.
you know, even if you want to utilize the funds.
Okay, I'm not a homeowner.
All right, cool. Then yeah, you can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Just click the link, put in your information, and we'll get back to you. Any
Okay,
other
thank you.
questions? Andrea Matthews, you're unmuted. All right, so listen, we could do a lot of things for you guys. Let me put my phone number here. If anybody has any questions, you can just text me, call me. If I don't answer, text me. Don't leave a message, just text me. I do listen to my voice messages, but I don't listen to them every day. Okay. All right, if you learn at least if you learn at least 3 things, drop a number 5 in the chat box. If you learn at least 3 things in the chat box, drop a number 5 in the chat box. And 2, for my real estate agents on here, one of the reasons why I wanted them to be here with me is that I also train realtors. And here is how you put on a home buyer seminar. And we've had 44 to 45 people on here the entire 2 hours. It just fell off when I ended the call to 37. So I would call this a very successful seminar. Not only that, I believe I saw 18 people complete. I'm ready to buy property. And now Legacy is crying. Hold on, y'all. Come on. She is not having a nice time with whatever is going on. And we're, come on. Come say hi to the people. Okay. Hi. Say hi. Hi. This is Legend. You ready for the Easter egg? Yes. All right. Go get dressed. Tell Daddy get you dressed. I know, but you're still gonna pajamas. It's almost 11 o'clock. All right. So guys, I'm excited. Hope you're excited. I hope you learned something today. If there are no more questions, we are done. Thank y'all for coming here. Is your link for interest? Hopefully not just for those who qualify for home. No, Brandy, that's anybody who's ready to buy property. Okay. The Hometown Heroes is a little segment. We have so many grants available across the United States. I've got North Carolina with grants, South Carolina with grants. I've got Fort Lauderdale with grants. I've got West Palm Beach with over $100,000 in grants per person. So, I mean, we've got money here. You know, we've got money all over the state. So, Brandy, the answer to your question is, if you're ready to buy real estate, then you click that link. Okay. All right. I've got Kayla on here. She's a specialist. Anita Celianese is on here, specialist. Kiana's a specialist. Natasha's a specialist. And we're all here to service you guys. Y'all have a great day. Love, peace, and happy Easter.